been 6.5 minutes of me just rambling. But I guess that's how it is. You just practice until you can get it wrong. And with that, I want to touch a subject today, and it's the lies men tell or men get told about being strong. And we've always been taught that being strong is just looking unshaken on the outside, like nothing affects you. Everything's good. Everything's just like you're supposed to be this cold person who nothing seems to affect. And that couldn't be further from the truth. I remember a few months ago, I was talking to a friend who turned out to be my mentor. And I was telling him about how I grew up, what's my background. And I've been doing sports pretty much my whole life. And from there, I transitioned to being a tennis coach. And I remember telling him one of the issues that I see the most is most people only focus about outward issues. Like if you're hitting a good forehand or a bad backhand, and technique and like feet movement, and how everything is supposed to look on the outside. Now, don't get me wrong, that's important. That's really important. But at the same time, I was telling him, rarely do I see people focusing on the inside. Like, what's the internal battle? How do you go from being nervous to being unshaken in the court? And as time went by, I started noticing that it's not just in sports, it's actually also in life as like a general thing. And we were talking about a lot of things. And when we were talking, something came up that I said, sometimes you have to start with what you don't have. And that's the story. Because if I'm being honest, I've been postponing this video for the past 2 months. The reason for that is I wanted to have the perfect setup, the perfect lighting, the perfect shot, the best quality, the best editing, the best script, the best music. And I just took a shower today, put the camera on, just put myself into frame and just hit record. I don't have any script right now because I am done postponing that. I'm done trying to think that everything has to be perfect for me to start, which would be hypocritical if I just do that while preaching other things. And sometimes you start with what you don't have. And that's what I'm going to do from now on. I'm just going to look you in the eyes and just tell you the truth. Not to make you feel bad, not to tell you you're a failure, but to tell you the other side, the side that you don't want to see. And that side is we have been putting a mask since probably childhood to protect your younger self. I'm going to speak from experience, like from my own life. When I was little, I would say like, I remember just making friends everywhere. And my parents would always say that I could make a stone talk if I had to. And when we would go on holidays, they would leave me alone for like 5 minutes and I would come back with 3 or 4 new friends. Didn't matter how old they were. Sometimes it would be kids, sometimes it would be like in the pool snack area, and I would be talking to adults or pretty much everyone in between. And as time went by, I started to be more like an introvert. I turned into an introvert, and that was because of a mask I started putting on, that people wouldn't like me the way that I am or the way that I was, and that people would prefer to hang out with my brother rather than me. And so, without anybody telling me anything, I just went from being this extremely extrovert kid to this extremely introvert person. And as time went by, I started pretty much isolating myself and just went from there and started thinking a lot and doing a lot of introspection and everything you can think of. And this year, I reached out to this guy who's not my mentor, and we talked about the possibility to just use all of that as an example for other people and to teach them how to move from there. And that's the lie that we've been told pretty much all of our lives. Sometimes we tell that lie to ourselves that you need to be a certain person or behave a certain way to be valuable, to be strong, to be courageous, to be enough, to be worthy. And the truth is, being strong is to stand in truth, to stand in who you are, and not just in who you are, but in who God made you to be. I remember this beautiful verse that says that God knitted you in your mother's womb. And before he formed you, he knew you. So from that, I know that you're here for a purpose. And when I say you're supposed to stand in truth in who God made you to be, it's about honesty. It's about being honest. Strength comes from honesty. My question to you is, what mask have you been wearing lately? What mask did you put on when you were a kid? And who is the man God is calling you to be?